I'm Puerto Rican, raised in Brooklyn, New York, home of Jay-Z and Biggie. I actually didn't grow up too far from Marcy, Williamsburg to be exact. It looked way different than it does today, that's a fact. When I lived in Brooklyn, there were black and brown people everywhere. Salsa, merengue, and hip-hop music blasting through the air. It takes a village to raise a child. My family helped raise me. So when my mom left the state, she thought it best if I stayed in New York for a while. I was raised with much love. I have a big supportive family, but I always missed my mom, even though we talked and visited frequently. At the age of 14, I rode the subway from Brooklyn to Manhattan every day. My high school had 10 floors, escalators, metal detectors, and security at the doors. Teens walling out, fights every day. It was impossible to focus. I thought, what's the point of going anyway? Started skipping class. By sophomore year, I knew there's no way that I'd pass. I left New York and moved to Virginia when I was 16, moved in with my mom and some of my siblings. I thought leaving New York I would find my identity. Little did I know that wasn't my destiny. Looking for love in all the wrong places, I faced harder lessons in order to grow. Partying too hard, I'd hit my lowest of the low. 1 DUI, 2 DUIs. The judge said no more. Take her in and lock the door. I spent 45 days without my freedom, 45 days to reflect, regroup, and grow. I was only 21, my life had barely begun. This experience was a turning point for me. I did my time, learned my lessons, and came out ready to shine. I've never shared this publicly for fear of people judging me, but really, it was me judging myself. Because actually, you see, you are a reflection of me. So any fear of your rejection was merely a projection of the judgment I've had inside of me. I trust everything was meant to be. I should probably mention no one was harmed, thankfully, except for my ego. Losing everything allowed me to feel gratitude like I had not before. I learned this new secret that had opened the door. Gratitude flipped my world upside down, or should I say, right side up. I felt like a pair of rose-colored glasses were placed upon my face, riding my bike like I'm floating in space. Feeling so high with the breeze flowing by, when out of my eye, I saw a passion flower. Mind you, I'm a girl from Brooklyn, and we didn't have flowers like that where I came from. Not even at the corner store, so I'd never seen anything like this before. I stopped in my tracks, took a quick snap, and went on my way. Little did I know my life would forever be changed that day. Because when I got home and looked at my phone, the image that I saw took my breath away. That's the day I fell in love with photography. My prayers have been answered. Who will ever hire me? How will I get a real job again? This was the beginning of my photography journey. Photography wasn't the only thing I fell in love with at this time. 2012 was the year all my stars finally aligned. First comes love, then comes marriage. We moved across the country in 2015. 2020 came the baby carriage. He's the light of my life, my Ira Jean. It's a journey like no other. Motherhood truly is a dream. I've been enjoying the tickles, the giggles, the play, and the joy. There's no love that I felt like I had for this boy. He's the joy in my way. He's the work and the play. We recently ended our nursing journey. Our son just turned 3. I'm feeling free and ready to come back to me. As not only a wife and a mom, but as a woman connected to the divine. Lately, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster, just before it takes off with intense speed. I'm enjoying feeling the rush, the flow of energy coursing through me. It's nice to feel movement, to feel something outside is the norm, to allow the water that stays still to dance like a quiet storm. Like Nina Simone, I feel so good, aligning with my higher self, no longer worried of being misunderstood. You know, what's funny is when I started writing this poem, I had no plan. It was very clear to me that this was meant to be an exercise to allow the divine to use me. There was no clarity except for the whisper of inspiration. urging me on to play, to create, and to share my voice with you today. I chose to allow, I chose to receive, I chose to trust in my divinity. I chose to be an open vessel for the divine to use me. I just turned 35 and I'm feeling so good to be alive. Sharing this today with you is an exercise for me to finally set myself free. When I reached out to Maury, she didn't waste any time, and I'm so glad it worked out that way. I didn't realize I had so much to say. If I had waited for the right time, I wouldn't be receiving these messages from the divine. It's your time to shine, speak your truth. And the biggest message I heard, it's not about you. This is so much bigger than me. It's kind to have humility. It's not just about humanity. We are a part of an interdependent web of all existence that deserves respect, love, and compassion. Every single one of us. Everything around us is a reflection of us. The only way to heal is to put down the shield around our hearts and to recognize we are one. We must take responsibility and do our part. I'm gonna throw a shameless plug in. How do you know someone's a vegan? They'll tell you. I think my husband's dad jokes are rubbing off on me. But seriously, when I watched the documentary called Cowspiracy, I became aware that I could have an impact on potentially healing our planet, our home. I believe she'll survive with us or alone. We have an opportunity, it's not for us or our grand and great grandbabies to break out of insanity. There are many ways we can do our part. Thank you for allowing me to share from my heart. This isn't a talk about veganism, but if you'd like to learn more, I'm starting a local magazine called Tacoma Vegans. I have lots more in store. I have these visions, things I can see from my future. Some might call it make-believes. I call them dreams, expressions of my inner being, calling to me, whispering. I know these dreams are manifesting. I have these visions, some I follow, some stay asleep, but they always come back. They're rooted too deep. They're meant to escape, meant to be shared, not meant to keep. They're meant to change me and possibly you, and to help us evolve and live from what's true. You have this too within you. What will you do? Thank you.
I woke up in a sweat. I fell asleep and had a dream that a king that I had known since the day that he was physically growing within the walls of his queen. I fell asleep and had a dream that this king was liquidated by a group of kind faces. You know, the kind faces beautifully outlined in our elusive history books. The books that omitted things like lift every voice and sing, and the faces that sang them. For the voices of the fathers of this great, great nation of takers, enslavers, murderers, and hatred. The kind faces that this nation has taught us all to aspire to be. The faces that I love, genuinely love, but do not wish to be. I woke up in a sweat, in a pool as wet as this king's shirt, after the bullet impermissibly broke his royal, purposeful, nurturing brown skin. I woke up in a sweat, as burning as his queen's fears, and as fearful as his little king's tears. I woke up in a pool of tears, burning red and white stripes down my face, stars in my eyes, stars that have been taught by society to hide, unless they coincide with whether or not society has deemed them more cherry for the sake of being too ethnic, black, exotic, or racy. I woke up with the blood of that king covering my kind walls, my privilege walls, and my privilege shield. It's been 115 bodies. I mean nights. It's been 115 nights, and counting that this dream has come to me. How does one find rest in this recurring scene? This is anything but a dream. Thank you. One more piece before we have a little bit of fun. There's a lot around being like right and wrong, right? I feel like in a community of people as small as within a home, or as big as within Black community, and then as bigger, right, as within this country, we find ways to divide ourselves. And we divide ourselves by right and wrong, and we get lost in that. Right. We don't choose love, right? But ultimately, that's all that we can really hear when somebody's speaking to us is if they love us, if they're listening to us, right? So this is a piece about that. It was the beginning of her sophomore year when she learned you were growing inside of her. She told your daddy that he was too broken to appreciate you, and unfortunately she was broken too. Subconsciously, she was trying to feed herself where her childhood lacked, a man that wouldn't leave her alone, and still, she sat alone in her closet with you attaching yourself to a wound you considered safe. You chose her to be your mommy, trusting her. The thought still makes her heart ache. 2 months following her departure from your dad, she sat alone inside of the closet of her college dorm, with you inside of her seemingly safe womb on the phone with him. Your dad on the phone from his mother's living room telling your mom that she was ruining his life. A life we now know was already ruined because you were the light in life they both needed. Her mother, or his mother, your grandmother, called your mom around 9 a.m. the next morning. Are you sure it's even his? She asked about you. How much money do you need to get rid of this? She further inquired about you. Your mommy always knew you were going to be a girl. She dreamt about you. She dreaded bringing that beautiful face into a world with a daddy that was so similar to the one that she grew up with because she wanted more for you. It seemed like the decision that she was going to make would mean more for you. She had a small mind then, and small minds at any age cannot comprehend big concepts, and you were a big, beautiful, glorious concept, far too large for her to comprehend. And so her mom, your other grandmother, drove them over to the closest in-parenthood clinic. Leading up to this moment, she didn't seek a Christian's perspective in fear of being critiqued greatly by anyone, especially them. She experienced that they valued some lives more than others, especially depending on the age and race of the mother, and so that was the route that she chose not to take. And those that encouraged abortion seemed vastly disconnected. There was little to no care there, and they treated her as if she had a problem with an easy solution, not a life, not a daughter, a grandchild, future world changer, a mother, but a problem that could easily be fixed. You see, essentially critics on both sides were useless. People help people with love, not with their opinions. Care always wanted to be a mom. She wasn't upset when she learned that you were living inside of her. She was excited and scared. Her fear, however, swallowed her excitement whole. The only thing she had in terms of experience was logic, very little encounters with faith. So even if the signs were there, she missed them. Even if you were practically screaming her name, my love, she and her logic could not hear you. And so in a paper gown, naked in front of the people that she hardly knew, ones that treated her and you like a quota, alrighty then, you ready to get this over with? You won't feel a thing. In a dimly lit room, a room that looked as though it could have been white some time ago, with a plastic mask now over her face, as instructed, she began to count backwards. 10, 9, 8, it's the end of that. 8. This is just a celebration, to be honest, for femininity. I grew into that didn't just come to me. So through a lot of intimate time with God, to be honest, I got to learn to appreciate who I am as a woman and my entire being. So, my garden belongs to me, so thank God for the invitation. Each moan, down, and scream provides air for you to breathe. Songs for birds to sing, and a breeze in the burning summer heat. Each hip and hill is a resting place. Each bite and scratch is a growing pain. And when I am pleased, my body creates rivers, oceans, and love. It gives the land reason for continuing. It initiates life and encourages healing. To make love to me with permission is to sing praises to God and thank Him for His creation. It is to praise Him for earth, strength, forgiveness, men, women, children, and it is to thank Him for me. Thank you. All right, so I need y'all to say, easy never does it for me.
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 Easy never does it for me. In order to come alive, my truth does not just arrive and reveal itself in complete and utter perfection. Instead, it pierces through my flesh, tears through my veins, pours out of my soul, over my times alone, drips down my spine, vibrates my entire being, and shakes before it escapes. It shakes my tongue until I have found its voice, until I have found itself, until I have found the words to say, to write, to tell you that the prepared meal is far more appetizing than its raw beginning. There's a lot of fight that goes into this happy ending. My truth before to ride to you was a beam of light that cracked me open from the inside. And while the breaking is ultimately beautiful, it's hardly smooth because easy never, easy never does.
Easy never does for me.
Good word, thank you.
What up? How y'all doing? Listen, I'm gonna take you up to the Caribbean real fast, okay? When I say sac passe, y'all say not boule. Sac passe. Sac passe. Cool, I'm gonna take you to Jamaica real fast. In Jamaica, you say wagwan. Here we go. First piece is called Rest in Silence. I'm a 5-time author. My books will be in there. Here we go. I am a black man walking. I am a black man talking. The color of my skin will cause a white man to start stalking. I'm not violent, but we get beat with violence. My presence makes America uncomfortable. While I am unarmed, I am harmed, but my shooters are unstoppable. Being in my own home will cause me to rest in peace. No, my quivers will cause me to rest in peace. And sometimes I feel like a dead man walking, because America stays killing my peace. Over and over again, we have to breathe, but they won't ever understand. Privilege says, don't ever be me. But the non-privilege says, that could have been me. Privilege says, I can cause crime to do with no repercussions. But the non-privilege says, if I cause the same crime, you have to face the repercussions. Privilege says, I can storm the Capitol and get away with like it's a hobby. But the non-privilege says, if I storm the Capitol, what you see will be dead bodies. See, the color of my skin is already a crime, and at times I wonder, are we the gods walking this earth because we are getting beaten the same way Christ was crucified, hung on a tree. And the difference is I cry not Abba, Father, forgive them for they know what they do, but instead, hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. The difference is I cry not Abba, Father, forgive them for they know what they do, but instead, same story every time. Being black is not a crime. Same story every time. Being black is not a crime. The difference is I cry not Abba, Father, forgive them for they know what not to do, but instead, no justice, no peace. No racist police, no justice, no peace, no racist police. The difference is I cry not Abba, Father, forgive them for they know what not to do, but instead I can't breathe. I wonder, why are we not impacted by the sun? Is it because we are the chosen one in this world being designed by the sun? I wonder, is my presence so powerful to feel like a threat that America with 3 Ks? Can't help but use a gun. As if my existence was a form of a weapon. Blue lights, red lights, white lights. It's a black man. Pop. 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 Here is your death sentence. I wonder, where did people get white Jesus? Because even Christ was persecuted and just for how we looked. And years later, we are chanting and crying to free us for how we look. My privilege causes fear, which initiates violence. They tell you you have the right to be silent. But when I don't speak up, they shoot. So therefore, I'll rest in silence. Next piece, y'all, from my book, Art Craft for Justice. It's a piece called Depression. My story is in here, if you peeped it, but it goes like this. The acronym I make for depression stands for defeated every day, pretending reality, every stage status, I only notice. A fight with self. It's easy to be there for others, but when I call out, where is my help? Silence in my own box, going through the motions. I smile and achieve great things, but deep inside I'm fighting a fight. It's hard to win when it seems like I deserve it. Trying to figure this life lesson. When the weight of the world is left and right, and it seems like it's too much to bear, when you reach out to the ones that love you, but they ignore you as if they don't care. I'm trying, and I'm being persistent. When I not the thought of suicide forced in my head, and I ask myself, am I worth living? Will everyone else be happy if I was just non-existent? Because when I needed you, it's really becoming more distant. Some don't understand. You don't want me to be alone while I read through the spoken word because it seems like the pen and the paper is the only way that I could be heard. We complain about the rate of suicide being high, but what do you expect if our voice is not being heard, when our deep tears are being pushed away, nothing you're being told to get over with, you will be okay. But if you've never been down my shoes, then those words become very easy to say. Instead of telling me to get over it, why not say and ask me, hey, are you okay? Because the words in itself really goes a long way. See, I don't want you to think I'm giving you a venting session. But this was my mentality to leave my own depression. I attempted suicide 3 times because I was done with life. And as a kid, you were taught you can't show no fear, so I held everything inside because men are not supposed to cry. So I asked the question, when do men cry? When can I burst out to say, help me? When can I release the hate that was built in over the years because your I love you, bro, don't mean nothing if you're never really here. Your I care about you don't mean nothing if you're not willing to offer an ear just to hear. So why do we only shed tears when someone no longer here? We swear our IOUs, but when they are present, we don't show the IOUs. When they are alive, we don't want to be apart, but when they are gone, that's when we want to get some hearts. This piece is for the people whose voice wasn't heard. Being told to be quiet and don't say much, but fake it until you make it, and we fail to realize that in itself says much. Right. And every human being loves when we are searching, and just because one smile does not mean they're not hurting, a smile on their face does not mean everything is okay. Good at keeping it in. If the mess hits your face, we be ready to receive the messenger, and we will listen to the message. So many times, some people we are there, but the moment they're facing their own devils, we just say, forget it. This piece is a piece for the ones who never heard the strongest word. The word that changed everything around. The word that showed fruit when you are up or even down. This piece is a piece for the ones who know they are loved. You are still destined with a purpose. And when God created you within with the destiny of love, don't let anyone tell you you are not worth it. Don't let anyone define your worth because your worth is not in the hands of the world. It's in the hands of the man above who can hold them tears you shed at night. See, I used to believe I had to do this on my own, then I realized with God by my side, I could put him in the driver's seat. He doesn't have to fight my fights. While the world spoke death, God spoke life. If you're breathing, it's because there's one within you. So please reach out and walk this journey. My young kings and my young queens, my old kings and my old queens, please reach out and walk this journey. Don't hold it in. Don't fake it. Don't hide it. Because if you do, you'll never access freedom. You'll never be free. So please, please, please talk about it. Because you are needed. And every breath that you take without an accident, there's a purpose to why you are still breathing. Hear me. Listen to me. Strongholds don't have to be your message. Your past don't have to be your present. The wounds and bondages don't have to be your future. My black kings, please speak. My black queens, please speak. All human beings, please speak. It's not worth it holding it in. And if you ever need an ear to hear or shoulder to cry on, please let me know. It's how freedom begins. Because I don't want you to know your beginning doesn't have to be your end. You got to feed your depression. Because the moment you get a hold of the king of change, the king of love, depression no longer have to be your friend. You don't have to settle for what's less. Because you were born to manifest into the best. You don't have to accept it the way it is. You can conquer what's taught to conquer. You can defeat what's taught to defeat. You can have a breakthrough when it seems like a breakthrough is not near. A breakthrough is not near for you with yourself. But iron sharpens iron, so when I step and tap into God, my breakthrough started to appear. The hate, the negative thoughts of self, depression, and everything else on the part of what God planned for my life started to disappear. Depression don't have to be your voice. It could be a tool for impact. Loneliness doesn't have to be your voice. It could be a tool for impact. Your joy, your peace, your sanity, and time to take it back. Tap into the roots of you. Take back everything the devil stole from you. Don't get reality mistaken with identity. Because if you do, you'll miss the facts that your DNA is attached to freedom because you were born to be free. Thank you.
I am a poet. An apology for everything but myself. I twist ugly words and hate speech into beautiful language. Get wrapped in I love yous and every reason you wanted to wake up this morning. I guess you could say I'm like, discouragement's nightmare. That last slippery soliloquy in a jar of inspiration you ain't picked up since the first time you outgrew loving hands. I am the product of loving hands. Son of a man who taught me to sharpen my teeth on stones thrown, yet still no compassion, like a heart knows to build a house in the creases of loving palms. And I know that I am a boy who's always been blessed to find a home in the depths of his mother's lifeline. The son of a woman with enough sunshine in her smile to melt the polar ice caps off her children's hearts. She could rewrite the hate attached to their names to loving affirmations, y'all. My mama has never been to a poetry event. But I swear, she's my favorite poet. She was the first to teach me that poetry, the gorgeous diction of heaven, reverberating off the eardrums of those who need it most. So I know that even on days when this body be a forgotten language, my voice remains a lexicon, whispered between the lines of the last true thing you ever heard. Let my poetry be the last true thing you ever hear.
Let's go.
A scream in a forest from a poet who ain't never made it to button poetry, but you bet your ass made a sound because I am a kiss on the clavicle of the underside of this world. Poetic, right?
Let's go.
But that's just to say, I've gone real intimate with tragedy. Yet still, I walk with the strength of Basquiat's last smile, rub dirt in my wounds and laugh in the face of thunderstorms. I let my heartbeat be proof that black boy joy stays stronger than trauma's fists. I am a joyful black boy. Meaning, I'm the first to die, yet the last to be full of this much life, you know. These days, I feel like America's walking contradiction, living a little too freely. The most underrated, overestimated, depressed ray of unfiltered sunshine, this side of the country that's always taught me to be mindful of the spaces I inhabit. How quickly my heartbeat blurs the lines between any room and a courtroom, full of people who all know that statistically speaking, shit, I'm already dead. Who claim that this body is nothing more than an empty vessel for broken spirits, an ebony casket carrying brittle bones. But despite erroneous assumptions, I have never been brittle nor broken, just battered and war-zone traumatized, yet leaving the house with a smile in my back pocket for the people who scream help me between forced smiles and deflected questions. I am the answer to your deflected questions. A reminder that you are not the product of your mistakes, but of the lessons learned from the things you've done to fix them. You know, these days I feel like a righteous mind inside of a skullduggerous body. But just to say, I sit here, an apology for everything but myself, so who am I? Shit, I'm a poet. Pull me up. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. I got one more poem for y'all. My name is Daryl Photo, spoken word artist. Y'all can find me on Instagram. I do have one. Oh, down bad. Instagram, picture_perfect_poetry 253. Word? Cool. I'm gonna say it again. Don't worry about it.
There you go.
Yep. You know, there's a lot of black people in here. We're gonna do this poem. Come on now. This piece is called An Ode to Black Joy. Let's talk about it. Black joy, black joy.
Hey.
I'm talking smiling faces. All shades are beautiful. Darker than a new moon, yet still shine brighter than that midday sun. Black joy is a shooting star's inspiration. A wet giggle, escaping cracked lips to splash a molten sidewalks and blocks. Too familiar with this kind of heat and the pain that accompanies it. Black joy is a breath of fresh air in a world struggling to breathe. Black joy is A Sunday drive. Backdrop of the city. You'll never call home again. Call it sadness. Call it depression. Name it your demons, but never look back, Black joy. It's never looking back. It's knowing what we've been through, yet still find the courage to greet the morning sun. Pay homage to our lost ones. Black joy is how we survive. Despite the weight of the dead we carry, y'all, this be the joy of pallbearers, etching kinfolk into epidermis as proof that our names will persist, despite a badge's insistence to exterminate our existence, yet still, we eat that shit. Face your prejudice with love, hate with acceptance. Black joy is singing kumbaya while the world screams boomaye. Black joy be defiance, a rebellion to the tune of we shall overcome. Black joy is a song found in the middle of a cotton field. Now, this joy be a baller. Born from the first back that broke master's whip. I'm talking a roadmap to freedom. Peeled from the hides of grinning slaves and inheritance. Passed down from this lineage of martyrs who traded their lives to make our smiles this political. Yet still, Black joy ain't just a statement. It's a verb, an action, not a movement. No trend to appease white guilt, but the inspiration for racist tears. Which is not to say that there's salt, waters our gardens. I'm just saying, a colonizer's discomfort will always make the sun shine brighter. Black joy is how my people make the sun shine brighter. That light bulb in the dark, a spark to ignite the mind of uninspired. Black joy be the death of shadows, haunting family trees, the dissolution of residues left from decades of decadence. Black joy is little Black boys raised by single Black mothers, becoming Black fathers, protecting the sons and daughters. Y'all, it's the house our ancestors raised, the house that we now call home. And I promise y'all, ain't nothing taking them keys away. Nothing can steal our joy. Appreciate y'all. That's Daryl Photos. Instagram, picture, purchase, poetry, 253. There's underscores in between each of those words. I'm gonna say it one more time. Picture, underscore, perfect, underscore, poetry, 253. God damn. All right, appreciate y'all.
First, a small public service announcement. My name is Jonathan Jones Thomas. I represent the NAACP. I'm the Environmental Climate Justice Chairman for Horrible, Washington, Alaska. The public service announcement is, we all need to be growing our own food. How many of you, by show of hands, have gardens? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3 people in the room. So how many of you have a plan if something happens to our food supply? Show of hands. Who has a plan? 1, 2, 3 people. It's kind of funny how the people with gardens have plans. Anyways, this poem, which I'm going to do off the top of my head, is something that I'm passionate about. It's called Grow Your Own Food. Off the top of the head. Here we go.
Yellow number 5, red number 7 on the dies, the cereal. Captain Crunch, Fruity Pebbles, I love them all, but they're killing me. The cancer's in me, my people, where are they? Grow your own food. The seeds that regerminate are our future. Grow your own food. What are you feeding your kids in the morning? Grow your own food. Who knows how to raise chickens? Grow your own food. Who can slaughter this beef? Grow your own food. What are we doing with ourselves? What are they feeding us? McDonald's, Jack in the Box. What are they feeding us? Grow your own food. Who has a plan if something happens to our food networks? Where's our sovereignty? Grow your own food. I speak from the heart. Grow your own food. My name is Jonathan Jones Thomas. I represent the NAACP. I'm the Environmental Justice Chair for Oregon, Washington, and Alaska. Grow your own food.